After hearing about this and now waiting quite some time, I have finally unlocked futures trading with Robinhood. And in this video, I want to show you exactly what you need to know and how it all works. First things first, if you have not received an email about futures trading yet, maybe it's not available for you, but there is a way to find out and apply and see if you're approved for futures trading on Robinhood. If you type in futures trading in the search bar on your Robinhood app or on the desktop platform, you'll have an option to click on futures, and then there will be an option to apply for futures trading if you have not done so or been approved already. Also may have gotten an email, and you can just click on the link to activate it from your email. They'll take you through a couple different steps. You have to enter some information, confirm a couple different things, and then you should be approved if everything goes well, and then you'll have access to, right now, 36 items to trade. So on the screen right now, I have a list that I'm scrolling through of all the different futures products that Robinhood is currently offering to trade. I don't know if this is going to be substantially different in the future, but this is what they are offering, at least as of right now. They also simplify things down to stock index futures, currency futures, crypto futures, energy futures, and metal futures, so you kind of have an easier way to view things. But there are a couple things that I think we need to talk about that could be confusing when you're diving into futures for the first time on Robinhood. I was reading through their FAQ, and from what I found, you need to have at least $1,000 in your account to be able to trade futures on Robinhood. Now, while that is important, there's also kind of a second component to that, because there's also margin requirements to trade the futures contracts that Robinhood has to offer. If you were to use some different futures brokers out there, you might have pretty low day margins, but as of right now, that's not available. It's not a thing on Robinhood. So we're going to have to deal with the maintenance margin requirements that I believe are through CME Group, which Robinhood will make it easy to visualize on our screen as I show you how this all works. But that's something you need to know. So you're going to need to have well over $1,000 to trade pretty much anything. You technically could trade the micro E-mini Russells, which we'll do an example of that in this video. You can technically do that the cheapest. But if you want to trade the S&P, the NASDAQ, you're going to have more money in your account to meet the margin maintenance requirements. One quick thing to also check, if you're logged into your Robinhood account on your main home page, if you jump down to where it says buying power and you hit the drop-down menu, it'll tell you exactly how much buying power you'll have available for futures. So for example, in my account right now, I have over $1,500 in cash, which is pretty much like that's all I have in my account. I don't really have much a position. I actually have two positions up here that are like less than a cent because I somehow just couldn't sell all of it for whatever reason. Whatever. Then we have our other buying power section, and that tells me how much buying power I have for futures. And then I'm also able to enable margin if I would like to do so. If you have over $2,000 in your account, which I may or may not do at some point in the near future, then you'll get access to margin investing, which will allow you to have more buying power. That opens the door to buy more contracts with less of a cash balance if you're utilizing margin, but there also are fees for that, and you'll have to pay a margin fee to Robinhood the longer and the more you hold that position, which as of right now, if you have Robinhood Gold, I believe the fees are lower on gold, but that's a great segue into the fees for futures accounts. So if you are not a gold customer, your fixed cost per contract is 75 cents. Gold customers, if you pay $5 a month to Robinhood for Robinhood Gold, you get 50 cents per contract traded, which is pretty good, to be honest with you. Most brokers out there are going to charge you more than this. There's even kind of an ad that Robinhood had that kind of compares them to other or some of the more prominent names in the space. There's also a regulatory fee of 2 cents. There's an exchange fee, which also varies. And there's a fee for cash settlements if you were to hold through the expiration date. But that is also subject to change and can vary depending upon the symbol. Also, we'll mention this for those who are not aware. Futures trade 23 hours a day. They will close at 5 p.m. during the week and then reopen at 6. And when we get to the weekends, the same thing applies. 6 p.m. Sunday evening, they open up and they will trade all the way until 5 p.m. Eastern time, then Monday. And then they'll have that 1 hour maintenance window and then the clock continues again. So pretty cool. I think it's a way if you have, over $1,000 in your account, or maybe a little bit more to have more of a cushion, to avoid having to trade SPY, QQQ, or options on those things. You can just trade futures now, which is pretty nice because you don't have to deal with theta decay and all the extra ways that options can kind of go out and screw you. So let's dive into how to actually trade this. So if up on the top, if I was to go to the futures, if I was to type in futures on my search bar, I'll do this on the app as well in a second, but I have 36 items. I could start typing something in. So for example, I want to trade the micro Russell. So I'll type in micro RU, and then it will pop up on the screen. Micro Russell 2000 Index Futures, March 2025 expiration. I'm filming the video in February, so that makes sense. I have had horrible luck, I will tell you right now, but I'm going to do it for the sake of the video. I'm going to take a trade. I almost every time I do these examples, I always lose money, but we'll do it for this video because why not? So let's walk you through really quick how this goes. They will have the bid and ask fluctuating at the bottom here, kind of like how anything else trades on Robinhood, but it gives you some information right underneath it. So you have your margin requirement, your trading hours, your multiplier, your settlement type, etc., your tick size, all that stuff. So what this is telling me is that every tick, okay, which is 0.1, is a tick. So see how it's priced here at 2285.7. Every 0.1, which is one tick, the value will change by 50 cents. So if I go long and it goes up one tick, we are up 50 cents on our position. Okay, and then vice versa on the downside. There's also going to be some interesting stuff on the right-hand side here as well. So if I was to go in, and I'm going to go with a market order because I don't want to do a limit order, but if I was to go with a market order, you have the option for a limit, a market, and a stop order. I'm just going to go market just to get in. If I was to go market order and just go with one, it'll then explain my buying power effect and then my margin requirement, okay? So the margin requirement is $883 per contract, but if I was to bump this up to 2, it essentially doubles that, and see how my buying power now is negative 1,700, which I don't have that much in my account. So you have to be aware of that, and it won't let me trade it if that's the case, if I was to go through and click buy. But now go back to 1. So it tells me my buying power effect based off of the margin required and the commissions and fees, which they have a drop-down menu explaining that. So I have a 50-cent total commission and a 37-cent total regulatory and exchange fee. And I'm saving 25 cents with gold because that 50-cent commission is from Robinhood. That would be 75 cents if I was on a non-gold account. Nice breakdown. Makes sense. Cool. I'm going to go long. I don't know if it's a good idea, but we're going to click on review order. I am not trading this based off of any sort of strategy. My strategy has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. Do not do what I do, but we can go in, we can edit it or buy. It's a market order. We're in, pending within a couple of seconds here, or now we have a position. So click on done, and now we have our position. See at the bottom right here? We got our position. We are now down $1 on our position. No pending orders. Daily P&L is going to fluctuate as time goes on. So now that I have a position here, there's an option to exit and cancel all, which means it'll cancel all open orders and exit. So if I was to click on that button right there, this will close your position with a market order and cancel all pending orders. Yes, exit and cancel, or go back. I'm going to go back because I don't want to do that right now. And I'm going to now be able to go down to my history tab, check on the history. I can look into all this stuff, futures, yada, yada, yada. Now, one thing to also mention is that there's no like separate account. When you trade futures on Robinhood, it'll just draw from your investing account. So you don't have to open a separate account, which I believe you have to do on Webull. There's no opening a separate account. It'll just utilize the same account. So you're doing everything in the same place. And then just if you're in other positions, like your buying power will have to adjust, and they'll tell you what you have, what you don't have based off what I've already showed you. If I go back to my home or my main investing page, up on the top, you'll now have a futures tab that will show you your position. So I can click on that position right there, and I can check this position out, and I can see everything that I need to see. Now, at the top, this is the March contract. So there's an active underneath the March. They also have a June right now. If I click on June, I don't have a position on that, but it'll allow me to watch the price action there as well. As time gets closer, you are able to roll the contracts. That's a whole other story in and of itself, which I'm not going to show in this video because we're not really near any expiration of the contract. One thing that I also want to show you, and people may have a question. So now that I have a position, if I was to go over here and click on sell, and I was to just go with a market order for selling one contract of the Russell. So see how I'm currently up 50 cents. It's fluctuating $1. If I click on review and I click on sell, back to my main investing page, they're smart and they close out the trade. So the reason why I say that is because if you're familiar with some brokers, what they'll have is when you open or when you have a new position, they will not close out the original when you think like that's kind of how it works, right? Like you have one open and I'm trying to sell my one that I had open, but sometimes it's confusing and you end up just opening a short. So now you have a long and a short. Robinhood just closes it out. I just did it right there. It closes it out. So I can go back in that order and close the position out, and that's it. So I'd have to sell 2 in order to reverse my position from long to short, which would then close the long and then open a short. If I go back to the micro Russell, you can see right here my buys and sells, which is actually crazy because I ended up, it was a flat trade. So you can see that my buy right here and the order status was at 2286.1, and then my market sell was at 2286.1. So somehow I actually didn't lose any money on the trade, although I did lose money on the commissions. So 87 cents was my total cost on each of these. So I technically lost money on the commissions that I had to pay for them. But in the grand scheme, I've done much worse with these examples, so I'll take it. So now what I'm going to do on my Robinhood app is I'm going to go ahead and trade the same exact contract, but I'm going to trade it in a different way. So if I go up here and I was to type in futures, I can pull up this right here. And this will be where you'll find the application if you are not approved or you don't have access to them yet. I'll scroll down until I find the Micro Russell 2000 futures. Pop that open, and then on the top left, like we talked about before, there is the option to change the expiration. In this case, we have 2 of them. I'm going to click on the June contracts. I could trade those, but I'm going to go back and click on the March ones because that's the more current ones, and the trade expiration or the time frame I'm looking at here is a day trade, so it doesn't really matter. So no pending orders, no open positions, all that stuff. We have nothing there. If I scroll down, I can see my history. So I lost like, $1.75, something like that on the commissions, but not a big deal. So you can see that the 87 cents with a Robinhood Gold account was each way. So not a huge fee, right? Not like less than $2, round trip. Not that bad, at least in my opinion, based off what I've seen, my experience trading a micro, like that's almost like no commissions. If you're super high frequency, yeah, it adds up, but you get the point. So I'm going to go short now because I'm just feeling like we're going to go short. But there is now an option as I click on the trade, ladder, seller, buy. So if let's say I'm looking at TradingView on my computer and I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to, some people like to just execute orders on their phone. Totally could do that because I look at my charts in my TradingView. I got all my drawings, whatever. Great, cool. But let's say that you want to use the ladder or you want to do a different feature. You have that option as well. Price ladder. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. So now you can see kind of where the bid and ask are, like on the ladder. And what I'm going to go ahead and do, I have it set to 1 quantity. If I'm going to go ahead and set like this right here as my sell limit, I'll click my sell limit right there. It'll give me all the information that we had on the past, like we did in the past example. And now I can sit back and wait and see if we come up to that limit to get filled. But if we don't, we're just kind of sitting there with our pending order open. And in the top right, it has the pending one showing us we have a pending order. So price is tending or moving down. If we can get a little bump up in our direction here to get filled, we'll get filled. And then we'll see if we can get a move in our direction back to the downside. A couple things while we're waiting here. The icon up in the far top right will give us settings. So we have an auto send, so that will not require confirmations. We can also exchange or change the time in force till good till canceled if we want to. And they even give you an option or a price ladder tour. So it's kind of cool. We're getting closer to getting filled. We'll see if we can get there. Now it's moving back down. The icon just to the left of settings is the yes, exit, and cancel all. So it'll just cancel all your open orders and exit any open positions. That's like the same button we had on the desktop platform, but I don't really need that right now. Or I guess I can. I'm going to click on that just to kind of exit this, and then we'll get back in the trade. Now we can move down and say, you know what? I'm not getting in. Let's go with a market sell. Just click on the market button. Now we're in, and it now has a line at our entry price. So you can see that we are in at 2283.4. And what I'm going to now do is move down on the left-hand side and see if I can get filled with a buy down here. I'll set that. Boom. I'm going to see if I can get filled down there, which will lock in some gains. And boom, we are now filled. So we actually made a few bucks on that quick little scalp. How much we made? $5. Tells you our daily P&L up in the top left. Just look at that. Today we have better luck. We have better luck. I always have bad luck when it comes to this stuff. We have better luck today. But that's how you do it, guys. It's not super complex, especially if you are used to other platforms. Like, I think you get the gist of it pretty quick. But it's pretty cool. Like, I'm happy that they now have futures. I like how we can now trade futures on Robinhood with our existing account. We don't have to make a separate account. It just all is taken care of in one spot. And if you have margin enabled and have margin, you're going to get more buying power and you can size larger. Just be aware of the maintenance requirements if you're not on a margin account. And as of right now, we cannot trade on Robinhood Legend. So if I jump over to Robinhood Legend right now, if I go to my recent order tab, this is actually an option position that I actually exited today. There's no recent orders on our futures. So as of right now, futures are not available on Legend. I would imagine that's going to change fairly quickly because it will be really, really nice when we can start looking at bigger charts and trading our futures contracts. But for right now, on the app or on the desktop, like you've been always able to trade on Robinhood, just like you would trade a stock or an option, it's the same exact kind of thing, similar process like we showed you, but just on your phone or on the desktop, not on Robinhood Legend just yet. Before I send you off, perks, that was not me taking a day trade. There's no PDT when you're trading futures. There is no pattern day trade rule. You can day trade a bunch. So that is a massive perk. You're also going to get 60-40 tax treatment, meaning if you make money trading futures, 60% is taxed at long-term capital gains, 40% at short-term capital gains, where if you make money trading actively, let's say you day trade options or day trade stocks, you're going to be taxed at your short-term capital gains tax rate, which most people is going to be larger than your long-term capital gains. So that's really cool as well. Lots of perks. Loving what we have on Robinhood, to be honest with you so far. I'm liking that they're innovating and they're adding more things to the platform that already a lot of people use. And now for those of you who maybe are interested in futures, maybe it's something worthwhile. If you want to learn about the Robinhood Legend platform, I'll pop a video up on the screen right now. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.